What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new series in MotoGP 19 where the legendary, or hopefully future legend, Bubba Speed is going to be trying to become the greatest racer of all time. Of course, you know we're going to be starting from Moto 3 despite here being an M1, but of course we have to make his nickname BS. This isn't Torture God. If you're not familiar with Torture God, go watch some of my UFC videos, but this is Bubba Speed. He's 25 years of age. Of course, he's American. And he's just an all-around badass. I mean, just look at this guy. He looks like he's built for T-City. He's just built for racing. Look at that badass AGV helmet. Shout out to Sweenyo. He's wearing that in your honor. And now it's time for us to take a look at the teams that we can actually be racing for. Like I said, we're going to be starting in Moto 3 and hopefully winning titles as we move on to MotoGP. And you can't start off with actual good teams. You have to kind of start off with some of the smaller bikes. So CIP Green Power. Redox looks better. This one looks kind of trash. The Sama Qatar Angel Neto team. This one looks pretty much perfect for Bubba Speed, and the other one, this Reale Alvintia Arizona, doesn't really look the best. I think that this is just pretty much perfect for a guy named Bubba Speed. I mean, you just look at him. It's got green on it. It's got a skull. It's pretty much it just speaks cowboy. All right, so these are his teammates, Kazuki Mazaku and Yurma Chickenko or whatever. So I mean, this is clearly going to be a team where he's going to be the #1 guy pretty quickly. We're going to be racing with 5 laps, so 25%. I feel like that's long enough to have tough races, especially with tire wear. Weather conditions, it says clear there, but it's locked. I think it's only for Qatar. So I think it should be random for the next few as we go forward. And these are our riding aids. Joint brakes are off. Auto brakes are off. Off-track help, I think, is pretty important. Ideal trajectory is definitely off. The gearbox is going to be a semi-auto. Rewind is off because I hate that. And transmission is going to, or whatever it was, automatic. So, as we go on, I'm just going to be showing you guys my qualifying. Qualifying 1 and qualifying 2. If I do make it to qualifying 2, of course. I'm not going to be showing you guys testing and stuff like that because that's just kind of boring because you have to follow lines and you have to kind of just do things as allegedly correctly as possible. And you're going to be noticing when you watch me go around that there's really nothing perfect about the way I race in this. There's just, it's all about, for me, getting the best possible results. As the legendary Dick Marcinko says, he's paid for results, not methods, and that's pretty much the same way that I see racing. Of course, this isn't real life where you don't have to where you have to worry about people going in with different trajectories and stuff like that. So there's a high risk of killing people. In a video game, you're not going to be killing anybody, and if you do, then you have pretty much broken the game. So this is going to be my very first lap in months in this game. My first flying lap, not counting or my actual lap, not just counting like development stuff where you just have to follow lines and not necessarily have to worry about lap times. It's about just kind of staying as close as you can to the blue line. This is going to be my first lap, trying to go as fast as I can in months. Now, I did play this game a little bit. I think I played up to 10 Grand Prix. I think I got to the 10th race of the season, and then I ended up stopping due to other games and other things getting in the way and other, just being busy and stuff like that. So I haven't played this game anywhere near as much as I would like, considering it's actually a pretty good game. And I definitely haven't played it in a long time. So if you see me doing stuff like this, it's because I'm extremely rusty. And sometimes in the middle of battles and stuff like that, it just kind of happens. This, of course, isn't really a battle, but at the same time, have to be trying to get the best time possible. And our teammate right here, I can't tell if it's Yarmchenko or Masaki, whatever the guy's name is, but he's in the way a little bit. So we got to kind of just go as quick as we can. But it's a good sign that we are staying ahead of him, that we are doing pretty decently here. Qatar is one of those tracks where it's all about point and shooting, so it's not necessarily going to be the best for our bike, because one of the things that they've added over recent years with these games is that you don't have necessarily like rider levels. I think that's a good thing because, like, I think it was MotoGP, the one with Valentino Rossi on the cover, where it was just it was Valentino Rossi the game. That game had a terrible system where your rider actually had to improve his stats and stuff like that, so you pretty much couldn't get through turns to save your life in the through the first half, sometimes even first entire season. You basically were just like a complete rookie, like some random guy was put on a bike and was expected to do well. So it was pretty much bullshit. This, they just have it to where you have to develop your bike as time goes on. There are different challenges you can do in practice sessions, and each gives you 5 points. I only did 2 out of the 3 because the other one it requires 3 or 4 or 5 different laps in a row to be done, and that's just kind of boring and takes too much time. Anyway, our first lap is done. 2 minutes, 16 seconds, 0.248, so not bad. We're going to go ahead and simulate through, and we are the fastest by a long shot, almost 2 seconds ahead of Celestino Vietti in second, of course, Kaito Toba in third. So let me go ahead and try to get pole position in qualifying 2. I want you guys to let me know in the comments down below what you prefer. Would you prefer to just have me do like my best session, as in if I do get to qualifying 2, just show qualifying 2, or do you want to see qualifying 1 and 2? Of course, this is my first time ever doing a video in a racing game, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get things, decent. But I do definitely want to know what you guys think about that. And because this was the first video in a series, of course, there were some intros and getting a few things out of the way to start off. So it's going to be a little bit longer, but depending on how long all this stuff takes and what you guys prefer me to show, whether it's qualifying and racing, or only one session of qualifying plus the race, or even just the races, whatever you guys want, I will try to adapt and make things as appealing to you guys as possible. So if I see that things in the next video are a bit shorter, especially because this is a long track, so it takes a little bit longer. It's 2 minutes 20 seconds more or less on average, I guess you could say, to get through it. So it takes a bit longer. Maybe with shorter tracks and shorter qualifying sessions and stuff like that, then maybe I'll put in 2 races. You guys just let me know what you prefer in the comments, and I'll do my best to make all you guys as happy as possible. Anyway, so we're on Ogura's ass. We're trying to catch up to him, because that would be a pretty solid sign that we're doing what we need to be doing. But I mean, the important thing really is just kind of be in the front row. I think that's pretty much the best we can look for. Starting off on pole isn't going to make much of a difference, because the biggest issue I have with these games, because you start off with low stats for your bike, is when it comes to top speed, you're pretty much screwed. And I know that's relatively realistic, because of course, depending on what kind of bike you have in real life, then you're gonna have different top speeds and have different accelerations, and a lot of that stuff also depends on how you set up the bike, and I get that. But at the same time, you start off with a pretty severe disadvantage, because you have to develop everything on your own. You don't just start off with a good bike or something like that, or an okay bike. You really have to put in a lot of work to make it good. So over the first couple of videos, probably 2 or 3 actually, you're going to be seeing pretty much nothing spectacular out of this. And on the straightaways, and especially on the start, you're going to see us get just completely blasted. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. Like if we start off in pole, then I think it's pretty fair to expect us to drop 4 or 5 positions just at the start, and it's going to be an uphill battle from there, because once I get in the mix of a bunch of people, I tend to make some mistakes and do some dumb shit. Anyway, we are just under a second faster than Aaron Canet and Nicolo Antonelli. Lorenzo Della Porta was just a little bit over a second. So they're all pretty much right there, and it's going to be difficult for Bubba to get 25 points here. Of course, that would be amazing. It would be nothing short of spectacular, but it's going to be very, very tough. And you're going to see very, very soon what I mean by us having some issues on starts. And I might get lucky here, but traditionally I always have a hard time starting. If you guys know of some kind of like secret to getting good starts in this game, then let me know, because there used to be a way you could do it in the old ones where it was just literally just hold it down and then just fucking go. But I might be missing something. I don't know, but if so, let me know. Anyway, we're down to 5th right now, down to 6th, 7th, going into turn 1, to be expected, all the way down to 8th. Luckily, we're going to potentially get back up to 3rd or 4th right here, because I feel like, the way I race is I don't really necessarily care about having perfect lines. I just want to be as fast as possible and try to make the racing as fun as possible, because if you just stick to the perfect lines in the game, you're going to be hit constantly. I mean, that's just something I've had a lot of issues with over the years, especially in a couple of games ago. I think it was like MotoGP 17 or 18. I had a lot of problems where I would try to race the correct way, and I would get crashed out constantly, because the AI pretty much doesn't care about you being there. And the AI almost never crashed in those kind of scenarios. So I would just go flying, get smashed, and my races would be ruined by these idiots who just don't really pay attention to anybody other than themselves. Because if you notice, they don't really get close to each other. There are no chances of them crashing each other out, but they will crash you out at all times. Regardless, we are currently in 7th, We've lost a little bit of ground, but we're trying to get as close as we can. If we can kind of, get towards the last sector, I would say, which is the very, very fast part. It should be coming up very soon. We almost crashed out that poor guy. Yeah, this is where it gets quick. So if we can stay close around here and get ourselves close to Arbolino, then we have the chance of actually battling for first. Because right here, there's going to be 3 very, very fast right-hand turns. See, I blew it right there. I went too slow into there. I kind of forgot about it. Got lost in the race itself. But if we can really start to nail this, look how much we gain on them. Because it doesn't really matter if we run wide or something like that. All that matters is that we just kind of stick as close as we can and stick around them with these guys. If we can get this turn right as well, it's going to be very important because we're going to have a hard time going to the last turn. And that's where we're going to have most of our issues because this is a pretty long straightaway as well. So here we're running wide, but thankfully there's plenty of track to run onto. But, it would have been better to stay a little bit online. Canet just destroyed us right there. Bubba has to kind of block people in order to not just be destroyed. Onsu or Onshu, whatever this Turkish name is, it just destroys us. And I mean, look, see, that's what we have to do. We have to basically block people and try to get them to push us. That's pretty much our only hope. So it's gonna be a rough season to start off with. Unfortunately, as you can see, we go all the way back down to 9th place. So not easy. But if we can just start the biggest thing is I need to race my race. That's something I have some issues with in these games lately, is I end up getting caught up on trying to just pass whoever's in front of me, and I don't think about doing what got me to pole position. You know what I mean? I'm technically able to be a second faster than them every lap, but for some reason, when it comes to race time, I make a lot more mistakes, and I guess because the pressure's on and stuff like that, so it is different. But yeah, one thing to take into consideration is that your tires do wear out pretty quick here. In this game, I'm currently using hard both on the front and the back to try to negate that as much as possible. So it does take a couple laps for the bike to start getting to to being as good as possible. But then basically from the second half of the second lap to the 4th lap, you're fine. But after that, it gets pretty rough on the tires, and there is a pretty solid chance of you crashing. Here we're going to try to use him to kind of push ourselves back online. And we're all over Ramirez right now. We're visibly gaining on him, going into the part of the track where we have the best chance of making a lot of ground. See, I try to take this one a bit wider because I feel like that gives us the better chance of turning in, and I don't necessarily care about having to go on the grips. I just want to come out of this, not this one, right here. This is where it really counts. This is where you can make the most ground because everybody kind of slows down big time there, and if you can make up some ground on that specific turn, then you have a great chance of getting yourself among the top 3 or 4. So we're all over Della Porta right now. We're probably gonna pass his ass. See, it's just hard because once the top speed starts coming into play, they really do have a big advantage. We're gonna run wide, but we should get a pretty decent drive coming out of it. If we can just draft them, then we should be okay. But there you go. Look at that. See what I mean? We're drafting Della Porta, and he still has a massive push. Well, luckily, we kind of got pushed there, but I mean, we gotta stay close. If we literally aren't on their tail right as soon as we come out of the turn when it comes to straightaways, then we're gonna get blown away. Because acceleration-wise, we're not too bad. We're not too far off, but top speed, they're just way better. And this is a track where, to be fair, I probably should have set the bike differently. I probably should have set up to where we would have more top speed. But once we go back to the European tracks, especially like a track like Jerez, we're gonna be having a lot more technical tracks, and we're going to have to be worrying more about acceleration, more about corner speed than we will be about, just getting the best possible drive out of turns and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see once we get to Circuit of the Americas as well, because that's a very modern track and one that I don't particularly care for, but there's plenty of cheese we can use if we're desperate. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Cheating, it's not usually going to be part of what I do, but if I have to, I will cheat my way all the way to the fucking bank. Fake it till you make it, basically, as a clean racer, I always say. Arbolino is getting lit the fuck up. He's in 3rd right now. We're all over him. We're trying to catch up to him. We're pretty much in the midst right now of an attempt to get ourselves on the podium. I feel like a podium in our first race would be very, very respectable. See what I mean? Like going out of that turn, we have a chance, especially if we can get a good drive with her here. If we can get past Arbolino and get, do pretty well in these next 3 turns, especially coming out of them, then there's no reason why we can't potentially get up to second. First, he's pretty far up there, but there's a chance of us doing something here. Like this time, see, it took it a little bit more technical instead of trying to be just all about, just flying as hard as possible. But it seems like it's paying dividends. Canet is right there. Here we can go a bit farther wide because you're not going to lose anything in terms of drive. You're not going to lose much in terms of pace, I think. So you should be able to pretty much just run wide as much as you want there. This time we do a hell of a lot better with this turn. We're able to get on the gas a lot earlier. We don't run crazy wide, so we're going to be a bit more on trajectory, and we'll see if we can catch the Canet. But no, see? Look how he's pulling away a little bit. I mean, our max speed is what, 220, 230 if we're lucky? Yeah, 225. Okay, so it's not as bad as I thought, but still, we're at a significant disadvantage because you saw how far he pulled away over there, and we don't really gain anything through this part of the track because it's all point and shoot. As soon as you get out of the turn, you just fucking go as hard as you can. So it makes it difficult, but I feel like as time goes on, we're gonna fix that, and we should be fine. This part of the track is still point and shoot, but we're starting to get to the point where if we can be smarter than them and take advantage of the runoff, then we can actually do something here. Because right here, for example, they're going to be cutting in a little bit more than we are. See what I mean? Like, well, we can actually cut in quite a bit there. But regardless, this is where we need to try to take as much advantage as possible. See what I mean about the tires? Starting to go to shit a little bit, sliding a lot more, and of course we ran really, really wide there. Blew it in Onsu or Onsu. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Let me know if you know in the comments. Regardless, he gets ahead of us. And we're starting to run wide a lot more. Despite our tires, and I think our tires are the two red lines that you can see. You can see in the middle of the HUD down there in the bottom right corner. Our tires, especially our back tire, is only around halfway consumed. But you can see visible damage, visible struggling, at least you could say, in how we're riding right now. So not looking great, especially because our biggest thing basically is being as aggressive as we can. That's pretty much the only way we can get somewhat of an advantage. Of course, right now these are the most important turns of the track, so we've already made that very clear, and we're not really able to get much out of it this time, especially because, like I said, being so aggressive, your tires do get destroyed a lot faster, and it's not as easy to be as aggressive as time goes on. But we're going to try to dive in on the inside. Ooh, we bump into him. We're going to push him wide, and we're going to actually take third. Remains to be seen how long we're going to actually be able to hold it, because for a fact he's going to be on our ass. You can look in the bottom left on that radar. You can see he's on our ass. He's about to pass us any second now. Yeah, we're going to let him go by because we want to try to kind of draft him a little bit. I feel like second is pretty much out of reach right now. But, I mean, just look how much faster he is. Of course, he drafted us, but still, I mean, insane, just an insane difference in top speed. So this is it. Final lap. It's all or nothing. Fourth place would be perfectly fine. But of course, the podium is what we'd be hoping for at this point. But the important thing is that we were able to not crash all race, which is pretty good considering I went 5 or 6 months without playing the game, and I didn't do any practicing before this. I just jumped straight into the career mode. So not too bad. And, of course, fourth place, like I said, would be fine. Our team, I think the objective is to finish around 20th or 25th. So, they expect us to finish towards the back every single time. But we're going to be going after these guys as hard as we can. And I have the difficulty, I think it's on advanced. So I feel that's pretty much fair enough. We're going to be seeing once I get the tracks that I don't know anywhere near as much, whether or not I can actually hold my own. And there you can see between the fatigue of the rider, the tires being kind of shot, and, of course, making mistakes. We are right now battling for 5th of all places, or for 4th position, unfortunately. But I feel like we're still right there. If we can do really, really well in this sector right here, that's starting to come up, and with this left right here, it's a long left. We can get a good drive. If we avoid the grass, boom, what do we do? We can get a solid drive here. We can start to gain on Onsu, and we should be able, through these 3 turns right here, if we work our asses off and get things pretty much perfect, then we should be able to gain a lot of ground. See what I mean right there? We're gaining a lot of ground right there. All because we're kind of exploiting every inch of asphalt possible, even on the runoff. See, we're on his ass now. If we cheese a bit more, then we can actually do a lot better in this game. But I try to be as I guess you could say, correct as possible. It's not easy, but it's something that I that we're going to try to be doing. The drive isn't the best coming out of the last turn. Definitely slid a lot there. A lot of this is going to depend on how good we are at blocking him, because Ancho is right there. He's on our ass. I'm going to try to look behind. I know it slows down a little bit, but he got past us. He even went in the grass, and he still got past us. That's disappointing. That's very, very disappointing. But at the same time, 4th place, you know, that's a fair result on your debut. I mean, we were only 1/10. We were actually exactly 1/10 of a second behind him. So we were close, and it was a hell of a race. It was really fun. I'm just happy to be back playing racing games. They're some of my favorite. I'm not the best at them, but they're just some of my favorite, especially because this is like the first good MotoGP game in years. I feel like MotoGP 20, I guess if they do the right things, then it has a lot of potential. I would love to see split screen co-op in career mode like it was like in MotoGP 08 and 10 and stuff like that. That was so much fun. You could start your own team and play with a friend and all that, and it was just really, really well done. They've gone away from that, but it is what it is. Anyway, so this is basically how you improve your bike. You have an engine or frame. It takes 10 points to do the first improvement, then 20, then 30, etc. So you can only build them up pretty slowly. I feel like engine is the most important thing, because obviously we have a pretty severe disadvantage when it comes to top speed. But that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section down below, like I said, what you prefer in terms of qualifying, racing, all that stuff. What things you would prefer to see from this career mode, and let me know what you think we can actually achieve here with Bubba Speed. Do you think we can become a Moto3 champion in our debut season, or is it going to be a little bit more difficult than we would like? Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.